Hi and welcome to today's presentation where we'll be talking about how to find property deals all over the UK with your host Arsh Ellahi. So I want to say a quick hello to everyone that's logged in and joined us with this session. If you wouldn't mind just doing a quick hello and let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly, that would be fantastic. And what we're going to do is, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. The reason why I say that is because I appreciate that time is a precious commodity, and more importantly, hopefully you're going to use this session to learn something new and absolutely valuable, especially at a time where there are lots of other investment opportunities which are failing, and we're going to be talking about that as well in this session. So what we're going to be learning by the end of this session, we're going to be looking at how to get started in property with no money and no experience. Now that's a big claim. I'm going to be showing you how to make cash flow from simply controlling properties. Again, another large claim. And then finally, how to find vendors direct and negotiate the best deals. More importantly, I'm going to be giving you case studies and examples as the kind of deals that we've done over the last few weeks. More importantly, I'm going to be introducing you to a young lady who is doing exactly everything that we're talking about, and she's going to be giving you some examples of some of the properties that she's done herself. So let's get moving straight on. So why should you listen to me? I appreciate there's lots of people in the property industry, lots of people in the property education space, so why me? First and foremost, I'm the founder of the Property Investor app, which is the UK's first property investment marketplace mobile application. I'm a property investor first and then a property sourcer. I've got the best part of 1,100 tenants in my personal portfolio, and I'm the UK's leading deal trader, sourcing in excess of 500 properties per year. I'm also an author and feature writer of Amazon bestseller book, and I'm a monthly columnist at two very well-known property publications. As I said, I'm the best-selling author of a book called Boom Bust and Back Again. And as the title suggests, it's never always been an easy journey. I've had some really good times in property. I've seen some really tough times in property, but more importantly, I managed to fight back to tell the tale. And I'm a property trainer which has helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom, as well as becoming a top 10, am I an author or publisher of a podcast called The Property Rebel. I release a podcast every Tuesday at 6 a.m. And it's approximately 15 minutes of pure gold. So let's get straight into it. Just so that you know, these sessions are very interactive and they will only work if you work. So I'd like you to list what are your goals for 2021. So when we're talking about what your goals, so at the point of this session, we're midway of 2021. So have your goals when you started in January 2021. What goals did you set yourself? More importantly, how far along are you in achieving those goals? So please, in the comments box, please feel free to write in there, what were your goals? So what are you thinking of planning for your property goals? And more importantly, what are you looking for? Are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking to build assets? Are you looking to secure your family's future? Are you looking to escape the rat race? Now, I'm giving you very generic goals here. Please feel free to be more specific here. So it gives me a good indication as to what you're looking to achieve by attending this session. Now, for me, it's all about living life on my terms, on my own terms. Now, when I say that, I talk about having the flexibility to work when I want, from where I want, and with who I want. So for me, that's what I define my life goal, my term of, or my definition of success, shall we say. And the reason why I do that is because I'm going to be talking to you about living life on my own terms, and more importantly, how property has allowed me to do that. So the first kind of case study that I'm going to be sharing with you is a lifestyle choice. Now, it's really random that I talk about lifestyle choice when I'm talking about property. And the reason why I say that is because when you're sourcing property, a large majority um, of this webinar is going to be talking about sourcing property, how to find deals, how to get direct to the vendor, and how other people have done that. But I'm going to share a mini story with you as a property where I'm now starting to look for property which complement my lifestyle, or what I would like to complement my lifestyle. As I record this, I've literally just come back from Liverpool, and I'll be talking to you about Liverpool in a second. First property I want to talk to you about is about a property which is down in Cornwall. Now, when I talk about sourcing, I talk about sourcing for properties. One of the reasons why I love sourcing is the fact that I get to see all the opportunities first. And so when this property landed on my desk, I looked at it and I thought, well, to be fair, I've always wanted a property down by the seaside, somewhere where I can escape, somewhere where I can go and use as almost like a second home. So when the vendor approached me and told me that he had a property in Cornwall, we looked at all the options. Now, this was a ready-made 3-bedroom, almost like sleep 6 holiday cottage. The vendor lived abroad. He was actually based in Tokyo. The reason why he wanted to sell it was because he was struggling to get it managed. He was having issues with managing agents who were not telling him when the property was occupied and when it was not. So he had no real clear indication as to the income that this property was generating. So after a few conversations, and we did it all via Skype, we agreed, believe it or not, a 10-year rent-to-rent opportunity with the option to purchase, where I had a 6-month rent-free period. And now this property generates in excess of £2,000 a month cash flow. But the main reason for me taking this property on is so that I get a free second home. So my main residence is within Wolverhampton of the West Midlands. My second residence is down by Cornwall. And when I'm not at Cornwall, the property is then let on a short let Airbnb basis. So my main focus is to ensure that the Airbnb brings in sufficient income to cover any outgoings. I've not done this as a business. I've done this one more so of a lifestyle because I want it as a second home. If it makes money, great, but it has to definitely cover itself. So does everyone like the idea of that, by the way? So when we're talking about property today, we're not just talking about it that, yes, it's all property and it has to make money, etc. The whole point of sourcing is that you see the opportunities first. You decide, am I going to buy it? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to acquire it? Am I going to acquire it for my personal use? And then as a result of that, if not, will I sell it on to someone else? Now, this is completely fresh off the press. And so we've had Cornwall for 2 years and it's been running really, really well. Occupied approximately 90% of the time, makes a decent amount of money, even though that's not the prime objective. For me, like I said, it's about having a second holiday home. I book out all the times where I want to go, and then any times that we're not is that when we release it out to Airbnb. So as a result of that going really well, we've now started to experiment with other cities. So another property that we've taken on is in Liverpool. I've been in Liverpool all weekend, literally just come back. And again, this is a lifestyle choice. A 3-bedroom penthouse, again, sleeps a minimum of 6 people. Now with this one, I found a tired landlord and we've agreed a 7-year rent-to-rent deal, again with the option to purchase. We had a month rent-free period, which is the period of May 2021. I start paying the landlord some rent from the 1st of June 2021. But as a result of that, this is now being listed on Airbnb, and the rent that we've figured on this is that it needs to occupy 3 days out of a month just to cover the rent. So the 4th day, so if we have it occupied 4 days or 4 nights in a month, this will break even. So I'll be talking about all these different strategies, and we'll be talking about how to not fall into a one-trick pony. So all of a sudden now, I've got my main residence in Wolverhampton, I've got a holiday home down in Cornwall, and now I've got a city apartment that I can go to as and when I require in Liverpool. So, and again, this property did not look like this when we took the property on. It was very much, we've spent probably a little bit more than what we would on a normal rent to rent. But the reason why we've done this is because I want this to be a place where a comfort home from home. So again, this is very much a lifestyle choice. This is not a business choice for me. Okay, so let's get moving on. So one of the questions that's coming straight away says that rent to rent has put me off in the past for the fear of not being able to meet the rent from the income. Now, that's a really good point. And the reason why I say that is because, I appreciate that you've got to make sure that you've got sufficient income coming in order for it to be going out. So you've got to have enough income coming in to pay the landlord, to pay the utilities, paying all the other costs. I completely get that. But more importantly, you've got to make sure that you understand the supply and the demand. There's lots of ways that you can do that. More importantly, you've got to understand what your break-even point is. So these are all the things that you have to take into consideration before you take a property on. I spoke very briefly about this property in Liverpool. I know that if I get this property occupied 4 nights a month, this will break even at the very least. Anything in excess of that is going to be generating cash flow. I've done the same with Cornwall. I've got multiple rent to rent. So it is very much a spreadsheet exercise. So I completely understand what you've said there. So one thing I want you to take note of is the journey is more important than the destination. So we've all set ourselves goals. So the goal may be, I want to generate £5,000 a month cash flow. I want to generate £2,000 a month cash flow. I want to have 5 rent to rent properties. And whatever your goals may be, because these are all very personal to you. Now, that is the destination. Question is, what are you going to use to get you to that destination? What is the journey? How are we going to break it down? So we've got the main goal. Now we've got to create a load of sub goals, mini goals. How are you going to get there? So if it's £5,000 a month is your goal, what we're going to do, what vehicle are we going to use? Are we going to use it as sourcing? Are we going to try and do rent to rent? Are we going to try and do a BRRR, a buy refurbish refinance? Are we going to do buy to let? Are we going to do HMOs? These are all different questions. As a result of understanding what the destination is, as a result of understanding the start of the journey, we then need to understand what goes on in that journey. So if it's a rent to rent, are we going to go direct to agents? Are we going to go direct to landlords? Are we going to try and pitch to them direct? How many properties do we need? How many letters are we going to have to send out? How many phone calls are we going to have to make? So we're going to start to create ourselves a real plan as to what you need to do in order to get yourself to that destination. And lots of people talk about creating yourself that goal, but no one really breaks it down on a point-by-point basis. So in order to get 5 properties, that means that I need to, either visit 10 properties a month or visit 20 properties or make 30 offers, whatever it may be. But you've got to break it down so that it becomes very, very, real for you, should I say. So my goal, my overviews for the last couple of years, 2019, we actually transacted £54 million worth of property in 1 year, which is more than most estate agents would have sold within a year. And this is me acting as a one-man band, selling deals to my database. Now, in 2020, and unfortunately, that kind of didn't go as well as expected. Don't mind saying that. As a result of COVID, it kind of put a spanner in the works. But I've set myself some higher goals for 2021 and 2022. Now, my goals for this period is that I want to trade in excess of 1,000 properties a year. Now, I can only do that with your help. I'm hopefully going to share how we're going to do that together on this session. So I've got business goals that I want to trade 1,000 properties a month. On a personal level, I want to do the Ironman Bolton, which is in the UK. I've actually entered for it. It's on the 4th of July. That's where I do a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run, one after the other. So it's a triathlon. One of my main goals, one of the parts of the destination, is that I want to become the largest well-known deal trader in the world. Sorry, not in the world, in the UK. In the world would be a great one. And also the Property Investor app to become the UK's marketplace for property investment deals, or the marketplace for property investment deals. Okay. So, before we go any further, do you mind if I ask a question? How many of you know anything about deal sourcing, or would you mind just spending a moment here telling me a little bit about yourself? Where are you in your property journey? Are you completely new, completely starting out? If you are, that's fine. Have you got some buy-to-lets? Have you already got some experience? If you wouldn't mind, just spend 20 seconds literally going through telling me about this, because then what I can do is tailor the session according to where you are and where I need to take you. So straight away, some people said just got some buy-to-lets, and believe it or not, that's fine. Some people said got buy-to-lets and one FHL. I'm new and just bought my first buy-to-let. Well done, congratulations. Just starting out, completely new to the game. Buy-to-let 6 years, stuck on where to go next. Okay, right. Have one R2R. Okay, so working on the second, having flipped a property 18 months ago, decided to run with a little bit more. Wow. Okay, so some people have got some rent to rent. Some people got rent. Some people got buy to lets. Okay, so someone's changed from buy to rent building, sourcing, trading, business. Okay, some people say they're completely new to this. Some people say I had some training, but life got in the way. Okay. Right, that's really interesting. So I've got some people that have got some knowledge. So I'm going to start from the beginning, just so that we make sure that we include everyone in this. So what is deal trading? Now, I'm not going to glamorize it. I never intend to glamorize it. Deal trading, if you want to know the basics of it, we're at a glorified level of an estate agent. I don't mind saying that, because if you look at the what's involved in deal trading, we're a service for homeowners and also investors, where if a vendor has got a property, they're trying to sell it, we've got an investor that's looking to buy it. In actual fact, we're trying to literally just match the two people together. There's nothing more sophisticated than that. And I'll be completely honest, let's keep this really simple. You know, deal trading is not a new strategy. Deal sourcing, deal packaging, whatever you want to call it, it is not a new strategy. It is very simply a case of finding vendors that want to sell and selling it to investors that want to buy, and creating a real win-win scenario. Now, let's have a look at the benefits of deal trading. I've already told you that one of the reasons why I love deal trading is that I get to see all the best deals first. So when it comes to the likes of Cornwall, when it comes to the likes of Liverpool, etc., I decide when I see something, do I like it? Do I want to keep it for myself, my own personal portfolio? Can I create the transaction in a way that's going to benefit me? Can we create a win-win all round? Now, if you're not buying it yourself and you're not keeping it for your own portfolio, naturally, you can decide to then monetize that lead. When we talk about monetize that lead, we're selling the deal onto a property investor, and we're charging the property investor a fee for finding them that deal. Which means, as a result of that, as a result of not owning the property, we don't have to deal with tenants. We're not dealing with any maintenance. We're not dealing with any bank borrowings. We're not dealing, it is very much 100% hands-free investing. The reason why I say that, we're not owning the asset. We're not tying up any money. We can deal with any property in any town, city, or country. Now, talking about the lifestyle, remember I said I've got Cornwall, I've got Liverpool. I'm now also looking at a property in places like Dubai and Miami. And the reason why I do that is because I like spending time in Dubai. I like spending time in Miami. So we don't have to restrict it just to the UK. It can be started and stopped whenever you require. It can be done from anywhere around the world. All you need is a mobile phone and a laptop. And as a testament to that, I actually went to Oman, which is in Muscat, just before lockdown to do half an Ironman. And I was still trading properties off my mobile phone. You can use systems called a VoIP system, which is a telephone system where you can link a landline, so your Wolverhampton landline or your UK landline to it. So, and all it is an app on your phone, and you make all the calls from that system, so that every time you call someone, you're not being charged international calls, and as a result of that, all the calls are then deemed to come from that landline. So again, little systems that you put in place so that you can work from anywhere around the world. Whenever I go traveling, I make sure that we've got that system always there so that I can work from anywhere around the world. Sourcing does not have to stop at property. The skill can be used to source almost anything. One of the main reasons why I love deal trading is because I don't have to deal with solicitors, no surveyors, no refurbishment works, no builders, no contractors, which means that there's no risk. The worst case scenario, and I say the worst, lots of people say to me, Arsh, what's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is that you can negotiate a deal with a vendor and you can go and put it out to your investors and it doesn't sell. And then that's where you go back to the vendor and you renegotiate the deal. You go back to the vendor and say, hi, we put it out to our investors, they didn't really buy it at this, we had it on for £100,000, they've not bitten it at this, can we restructure the deal? Do we restructure it as a purchase? Do we restructure it as a rent to rent? Or do we just literally simply lower the price? And let's face it, estate agents do exactly the same. How many times do they put a property on the market for £100,000? Then a few months later or a few weeks later, it gets dropped to 95,000. They're doing exactly the same. So let's not glamorize this. It very much is a case of simplifying the sales process. Now, Phil has come back and says, what is the system called again? So the actual system is called a VoIP, which is VoIP telephone system. There's loads of different products out there in the marketplace. You can get web-based ones, you can get actual handsets. I go for the web-based style, which allows me to then operate in any country. So, worst case scenario, the property does not sell. Now, when it comes to deal trading, I am going to be very specific and very clear with something. Is that you come across all kinds of deal traders and deal sourcers who are only going after and chasing one style of property. And this could be a below market value opportunity. They will only look at stuff that's 25% below market value, which means that they're missing out on 90% of all the other stock. They've kind of ignored the full market value deals. They've kind of ignored the rent option or the lease options or the assisted sale options or the exchange and delayed options and also the planning gain options. Plus, also the commercial opportunities, plus the land opportunities. They've forgotten all about those because they've gone down what is considered tunnel vision, where I'm looking at what is considered funnel vision. The reason why is because if you've got a vendor and their house is worth £100,000, so let's keep the numbers really simple. If their house is worth £100,000 and they've got a mortgage of, let's say, 80,000, and you want to buy it at 25% below market value, which means that you want to offer no more than 75,000, they can't afford to sell you that property because they owe more on the mortgage than what you're prepared to buy it for. So that means that you're instantly going to dismiss that lead. Now, that is what I consider a one-trick pony. But by understanding all the different avenues and all the different strategies, you should be in a much better position to monetize that lead. So you can say, okay, I appreciate that you've got a mortgage on it at 80,000. I originally wanted to offer you 75,000. There are other avenues where I may be able to offer you the 80 or slightly more so that you're coming out of it where you're not losing money. And as a result of that, you create a win-win scenario. We'll be going through some of these scenarios. So 3 principles of deal trading. And again, keeping it very, very simple. First one, you've got the owner, the person that's selling the property. This is a person that needs help selling their property. Or when we talk about 3 principles, this could be the vendor, or it could also be an estate agent. The reason being is that as a sourcer, you want to try and work with not only owners, but also estate agents that are struggling to sell their property as well. So it could be the vendor or an estate agent that needs help selling their property, or agent may have tried for the last 3 months but may not have kind of got the purchase over the line. Then there's you. You're the most important principle of the whole transaction, because you're the person that is going to look at the opportunity and says, okay, you're going to be the one that's understanding the investment property and trying to then find an investor for it. And then finally, you've got the investor, who's the person that purchases the property which meets their criteria and pays you as the sourcer as a fee. Now, the reason why I managed to get a load of deals, and I'll share a little secret here with you, is because I'm not greedy as a sourcer. So when I meet vendors, I say to them, I'll tell you what, guys, you can either go to an estate agent and they can sell your property and they can charge you approximately 2% for selling that property, or you can come to me. I can try and sell it to my investors on my investor database. I won't charge you as a seller anything, and I'll make my fee off the investor. Now, look at both angles there. If they sell it with an estate agent, it may take longer and they get charged a fee. If they sell it to me, it's more discreet and it doesn't cost them anything. Which one do you think the vendor is going to be looking to go with? Does that make sense? So, okay, so let's keep moving on. Sorry. So, with the 3 principles of deal trading, we understand the vendor or the agent. We need to understand what is their pain and what is their motivation. One thing I will say, and what lots of people get wrong with deal trading, is that they instantly assume that money is the motivation. Now, money is not always the motivator when it comes to deal sourcing or deal trading. You may have people upscaling, you may have people downscaling, you may have people going through financial difficulty, you might have people going through relationship difficulty, you may have people on the other side of the world. Give me an example of Cornwall. The investor that owns the property does not have a mortgage on it, so he's not in financial difficulty. He was just struggling to find someone to manage the property and meet his expectation. The landlord in Liverpool, he's just a tired landlord, and that property had been vacant since January. We're now in June. He's lost out on pretty much 5 months worth of rent. So not every vendor is after a very quick, fast sale. You've got to really understand what is the pain, the motivation, and what is the root of that pain and motivation, and how you can try and add value to their problem. So as a sourcer, as I said, you're the most important part of it. How can you add value to this property? How can you eliminate the pain and the motivation that the vendor's got? And as an investor, you've then got to sit there and understand that, would an investor buy this property off you? What makes this deal so special? Is there anything in this property? The honest answer is that every property has an angle, and you just need to understand what that angle is. Let's have a quick look at this week's deals alone. So going from top left to bottom right. So we've got 2 freehold flats in Ferndale, which is in Wales. Just to clarify, I've not been and viewed a single one of these. As a deal sourcer, you do not need to go and view them. Now, that sounds crazy. I don't mind saying that. That sounds absolutely crazy, that you're selling property without viewing them. You don't need to view a single one. And the reason why is because you get the vendor or you get a local agent on the ground to do it all for you. So we've got a vendor who's got 2 properties in Wales for £35,000 a flat. The 2 2-bedroom apartments for £35,000 each. And again, the angle with those is a cash flow opportunity. We've then got a single let or service accommodation flat. Again, I believe that is in Wales. Sorry, my eyesight's really bad. Yeah, I think that one's in Wales. That's £80,000. And these are all deals that have sold. You got other ones which is in Leicestershire. You've got another one which is in Reading. You've got another one which is in Kent. You got another one which is in, that's in Loughborough as well. And so these are all properties that we've either got reservations on, speaking to, or sold. And again, if you have a look at them, there's a real mixed bag of below market value opportunities, full market value opportunities, rent-to-rent opportunities, and some of these are direct to vendor. So I don't mind just saying that some of these deals have come from agents, and some of these are actually co-sourcing with other sources. So as you can see, I'm not playing the game of the one-trick pony. I want to be able to see opportunities from all different levels and all different angles so that I can monetize every lead. And this week alone, we've generated in excess of £30,000 in sourcing fees. Again, other deals that we've done, this is Picton Street, which I believe is in Wales. It's a shop with a 3-bedroom apartment above. We've done 2 rent-to-rent apartments in Birmingham. There's an 8-bedroom house within the West Midlands. There's a 9-bedroom HMO in Oldham, which is Greater Manchester. Again, Oldham, Manchester sold. Corporation Street, we've got someone negotiating on that. Holland Street has just completed. Picton Street is about to exchange. Again, we've got all these opportunities that are all going through. So I've told you the very basics of deal sourcing. So understand, the different kinds of properties that you should be looking at, how to not become a one-trick pony. More importantly, now let's talk about the opportunity, because this is a massive thing right now. So the opportunity. Let's have a look at the market. As a deal sourcer, it doesn't matter what the market does. So whether you're going through a price boom like we're currently going through right now, the sellers may be in control as the prices continue to rise. Now, at some point, the market is going to bust. It will bottom out. And it doesn't matter to you as a deal sourcer, because you just simply adapt your pricing according to the economic climate. Let's think about what happens with estate agents for a second. And I'll keep referring back to this as estate agency, because in essence, this is their model. When an estate agent has got a property that was previously on for 100,000 and the market starts to slow down, what do you reckon they happen? They go back, they have a negotiation or a conversation with their vendor, and they bring the price down. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not buying the property. We're not ever considering buying the property. We're simply facilitating the sale. So if a property has not sold, we go back and we negotiate the deal with the vendor or the agent, whoever we're speaking to on the property. Does that all make sense? Just give me a quick yes or no. Am I teaching you to suck eggs this evening? Please feel free to tell me, if this is too basic or whether you want me to speed up. I'm more than happy to keep going. So keep moving on. Right, this is very apparent as of this week. Now, the reason why I put this in, I never really talk about cryptocurrency, but I feel like this is the week to talk about it, because how many people have invested in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, etc., and were enjoying the high life when it was going well? But this week, as a result of something so volatile as to a tweet from a well-known entrepreneur, that as a result of a single tweet, a lot of people lost a lot of money in their crypto wallet. So Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, decided to tweet that he was no longer interested in people purchasing his cars with Bitcoin, lost all of a sudden over $900 billion in the currency market. And you think about that, over one person's tweet. How volatile is that market? When will it next go up? When will it next come down? More importantly, when will the next tweet? Who is the next person to tweet to affect the market? And more importantly, do you want to be in a position where you not know when the bust is about to come? Because let's face it, everyone kept saying it's going to go, it's going to break another record, it's going to break another record. As a result of one person, that almost crippled a lot of people financially. Now, the reason why I mention this in this presentation is because property will never be in that position. Regardless what happens, even if the Bank of England was to say, you know what, guys, we're not lending any more money, it will not drop to that kind of level. It may have a slight knock-on effect on property. It may reduce the price of a property slightly, but it will not fall as drastically as other investments. So Paul says, yeah, this is a chart from mid-September. I don't mind saying that. I just pulled this image just of a flowing. I can pull one up from, as of last week. It literally fell through the floor. So Phil said, this is literally just an image that I pulled up off Google. I don't mind saying that. And this is a recording, and this is not recording. This is a live session. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's keep moving on. So the opportunity, what is the opportunity? When we look at the market, what's going to happen in the rest of the market, the uncertainty. So lots of landlords are worried about Section 24. Lots of landlords are worried about not being able to claim their interest relief as a cost going forward, and it's going to push lots of people into a higher tax bracket. So we've seen lots of landlords selling their portfolio very quickly. At the moment, interest rates are at an all-time low, and this will not always remain the same. At some point, they have to go up, which means that it's going to push a lot of people into negative cash flow. And as an economy, we still don't know the effects of how the UK is going to adjust after leaving from Brexit. Believe it or not, Brexit has been pushed under the mat whilst we're dealing with COVID-19. How will we deal with COVID-19? How will business will be desperate to start again. We still don't know the full effects of these yet. So these are all the uncertainties that are in the market right now. So there's going to be a massive opportunity coming ahead. More importantly, there are 53,000 estate agents in the UK. And as of earlier this month, Rightmove stated that Rightmove has over 800,000 properties for sale throughout the UK, given the UK's largest selection of new build and resale homes. Now, the reason why I mention this is because as a deal sourcer, I always use a phrase that you can either go and fish in the pond or you can go and fish in the sea. Now, when you're going to try and find a deal, I will say that you always get the best deal when you try and go direct to vendor. I've got no qualms in saying that. However, when you try and go and approach vendors, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into finding one vendor. And more importantly, that vendor will really only have one or two properties that they want to sell. Now, the reason why I mention this is because, as I said earlier, we work with vendors. We also work with estate agents. I get a large majority of our leads from estate agents. And the reason why I say that is because, let's face it, if they've got the estate agents spent a load of money on marketing, generating these leads, if we can literally piggyback off from an estate agent who's already done all the hard work, and we're simply finding properties that they've already found, how easy would that be? So think about that. There's 800,000 properties for sale in the UK right now. Think about how many properties do you need to become financially free if the average fee for one deal is around £3,000. How many deals do you need to do a month in order to become financially free and to meet the goals and to reach the destination that you discussed and you mentioned at the start of this presentation? So I'm hoping that at this point, there are lots of light bulb moments going off and saying, you know what, to be fair, I can go off and put 100,000 leaflets out where I'm going to try and find vendors. And still, that is still a very viable strategy. However, or I can work with one or two of the 53,000 estate agents in the UK, and they can continuously keep feeding me deals all month, every month, for the rest of my life. And this is what we do. A large majority of our stock comes from agents. They supply us with the photos. They supply us with the floor plans. Remember, I said that I don't go and visit any of the properties. I don't need to because they've already done this. They supply me with the virtual tours. They supply me with the exclusivity. So I'm going to be speaking to you in a second about a young lady that also does this as well. And she's been dealing with a couple of agents across the country, and she's really successful at that. Have any light bulb moments hit home right now? Feel free to say yes or no. So, will agents work with you? Here's an email from an agent that sends me, deals pretty much every week. So, why would they work with me? It's simple. I help sell their properties and make it easy work for them. They still make exactly the same commission because they're making their money from the seller. I make my money from the owner. They make their money from the seller. I make my money from the buyer. So they still make exactly the same commission. It gives them another avenue to market their properties. I make money from a property that I simply control, and it's a win-win scenario all round. Does that make sense? Just take a second there just to say yes or no. Do you now start to understand how deal trading has started to work? So can you kind of see the opportunity here? Remember the saying, you go fishing in the pond and you may pick one or two vendors out of it. You go fishing in the sea where you've got 800,000 properties. And you've got, how many agents did I say that there were? 53,000 estate agents. Are you sure you can't find one deal a month from an estate agent out of 800,000 properties? Regardless of how many sources there are, you're sure to find one deal. Now, the issues that estate agents find right now is that if people are still being furloughed, will this affect their position to buy with homeowners? And lots of agents are still struggling with confidence in viewings. Although viewings are allowed, many buyers are still very skeptical, and therefore sales are limited. Homeowners are also reluctant to let people into their properties. So this is an actual fact, and these are things that estate agents that I speak to every day are dealing with. Okay, so Rebecca has come in and said, some estate agents say that if you're looking for B&B properties, try auction websites. How would you advise on them to get to recommend properties to you? So Rebecca, believe it or not, we deal with agents and auction houses all over the country. Auction houses is a completely different strategy, and we do cover that. Estate agents, again, I suppose, Rebecca, if you don't mind me saying, you're going in with the wrong approach. Straight away, you're saying that you're looking for properties below market value. How many times do you reckon an estate agent has heard that? How many times do you reckon that estate agent has heard, I'm a property investor, I've got cash, I can complete within 7 days, I'm looking for properties that are 25% below market value. Other things that they've said, I'm looking for your smelliest house, I'm looking for the carpets where your feet stick to the ground. They've heard it all before. It's like a broken record. So you have to adapt your approach where you work in line and in sync with an estate agent. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Okay, so Christina says, houses by me are selling within days. Yes, they are, Christina. And you've got to remember that there are some properties that are simply properties that are personal purchases for homeowners, and that's great. We're looking for investment properties, and they don't seem to sell straight away off the bat. Another question that's coming, I heard in Loughborough there's huge restrictions for HMO licenses being granted, too many HMOs in the area. Would this not be a risk to buy these HMOs and then be granted the license? If they've already got a license, then no, there won't be a risk. If they've not got a license, potentially there may be a risk. So Vincent says, here's a great question. If the agent has Rightmove and Zoopla, then why would they need you? Because in essence, Vincent, they're just putting their property on the website and they're waiting for people to approach them. What we're doing is that we're speaking to the agent and then we're putting their property under the nose of a targeted audience of property investors. As a result of that, that's why we get quicker response time. So when I put a property out to my database, I'm putting it out to the best part of 100,000 property investors. You can see from the emails and the notifications that you get on a day-to-day basis, the amount of deals that we're doing. As a result of that, as soon as we put a property out, it notifies them. You know, I can sell a deal within the space of 10 minutes to the best part of an hour, depending on the style of deal. Not all of them sell within that time frame, I might add, but a large majority will. Worst case scenario, I'll try and shift it within a week. Most estate agents try and sell their stock within 60 days because that's the exclusivity period. So, you know, it is a very different approach to estate agents. I appreciate you saying that, you know, Rightmove and Zoopla are powerhouses, but more importantly, they're not a targeted audience. That is Joe Public. All they're doing, they're being very reactive. They're putting a property on a website, waiting for people to contact them. We're pushing it under a targeted audience's nose. And we say, guys, we know you want to buy property. Here's a property that we think you should be looking at. Does that make sense? Feel free, if you don't agree with me on something, please feel free to say, oh, you know what, I don't get it, or, you know, I don't think that this works. I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you. Okay, so do deals exist in London? Because in one of my emails that I put out, I said that, you know, we're finding deals in London. So here's a below market value deal in London, direct to vendor, where the market value is approximately £1 million. We agreed a purchase price at £700,000, which means that is a 30% below market value opportunity. And our fee on this deal was £20,000 plus VAT. So it's £24,000 on this property alone. So Pets straight away says, who came and valued your B&B? So in this respect, when the market value is circa around £1 million, we get a couple of agents to go and market the value the property in that scenario. So Washington says, how do you get people want to buy? So one thing I'll talk to you about that shortly, Washington, is about the Property Investor app. Okay, let's have a quick look at keep moving on. So I'm going to introduce you to a young lady. Let's see if she's online, and I'm hoping that I can try and ask her to come online. Hi Lenka, how are you?
Hi Arsh, how are you?
Thank you for coming on to this presentation. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
So first question, can everyone hear Lenka nice and loudly and clearly? Please, that would be great. So just give me a quick yes or no. Okay, so Lenka, do you want to, before we talk about your deals, which are very juicy deals, do you mind if you just give everyone just a brief indication, a brief, almost like introduction as to who is Lenka, where's Lenka from, what's your background, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so I have originally come from Slovakia, and I came here 15 years ago. I studied fashion, and yeah, for the past 15 years in England, I have been working in fashion, so completely different industry. It has just started to take really bad toll on my health. So I just decided last year that I'm going to quit my job and focus on properties, because that has been passion of mine for many years. So even when I came to this country, I used to watch Homes Under the Hammer, like every single morning. I was just obsessed by it, and I really was interested in watching it and hopefully get into property one day. So yeah, when the opportunity came, I jumped on it, and I never looked back. I really enjoy it, and I'm learning so much. And I think from the coming deals that you are going to see, you can see that if I can do it, that I had no experience whatsoever, you can do it too. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So Lenka, today this session is all about you. So, first property that you approached me about was a mixed-use property in Stockton-on-Tees. So this is a deal that you originally found on Gumtree, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So this, the vendor of this property was a guy called Tony. Tony was very intense.
Yes.
Originally, he had a property. Remind me now, this was where he had a shop on the ground floor and he had a 5-bed HMO above. Is that right?
I think it was 3-bedroom upstairs.
Okay, sorry, yes, it might have been a 3-bed.
Yeah,
Okay,
large
so
office downstairs, and upstairs was 3-bedroom flat, I think.
okay, so he originally wanted to sell the property. And the reason why he wanted to sell the property is because this guy was actually in the UK at the moment, but going to fly back to Saudi Arabia because he worked for an oil company. And so when we started to understand his reason for selling it, his issue was that he didn't really want to deal with tenants. So we structured it, and I said to him, well, I'll tell you what, if your issue is dealing with tenants and management, why don't we structure it so that it's a lease option? And so we spent approximately about 2 hours on the phone, back and forth, etc. But we structured it as a 5-year lease option, and we sold it to an investor within the space of an hour. And we charged a fee of £6,000. So, Lenka, this was probably your first experience, or to this kind of negotiation. How did you find it?
It was a little bit scary for me, obviously, to speak to him. That's why I asked for your help, because I was new to property. So when I found the ad and you looked at it, you said, okay, there is something in it. So you helped me with a phone call. And it has been incredible, because the way you were able to explain to him how this lease option will work and how it can be structured and how fast we can move forward and kind of free him of this property and just move wherever he needs to, because I think he needed to go somewhere into Middle East or something. He was in real rush. So yeah, I think it has been really eye-opening, and it was I could learn a lot from that phone call, just from the way you have explained everything to him, and I could use that knowledge to go to the next deal and to the next deal and to be able to explain this strategy to the next vendor or agent or whoever I had to deal with. So I'm really learning with every single phone call. So it has been really incredible.
So I suppose my next question is that, so what did this do to confidence? So getting this one completely over the line. I don't mind saying, Lenka, that we've had a couple of deals that have fallen through. Would you agree?
Yes, we did.
So with property, it's not every deal is going to go through swimmingly. We had one property that fell through, and we'll talk about the piece of land that we'd negotiated a deal with the vendor. We also had an investor buying it, and then all of a sudden they decided to go very quiet on us. So we'll talk about the piece of land, but let's talk about your best deal to date, which is the B&B deal in London. Let's just call it Queen's Park for now.
Okay.
So Lenka. So what we've done with this one, we've run 2 strategies together. So it's a B&B deal. So this is the one where it's valued at £1 million.
Million pounds.
You've negotiated it down to 700,000. So, okay, how did that negotiation go?
That has been, again, very interesting, because that deal has been a little bit complicated. That was, again, something I had no experience with. So once again, I asked for your help, because there was a little bit of catch with that deal, obviously, for such a good price. And again, the information and the lessons I could learn from that phone call were really incredible. At the same time, because I am based in London, and I did not want this deal to just pass by, this is the first and only property I went to personally see. And I met the owner as well, and I was doing some pictures and videos of the property, and yeah, we were able to go, you know, from there on, with Arsh's help, obviously, to structure the deal in the right way for the owner and for the situation that he has been in. So yeah, again, incredibly useful informations that I have learned, and I can use it in case something similar comes up in the future.
Sorry, okay, so the one thing that I've done with this property in particular is we've ran two strategies. So first was sourcing it below market value, but also we're doing something called an assisted sale. So we've actually negotiated with this property at 700,000, but the vendor is actually getting 650,000. So what we're doing is we're making the 50,000 on top of the purchase, as well as that we're charging the fee of 20,000 plus VAT. All of that is all transparent from the outset. So in actual fact, from that deal alone, providing when we say it's pending, it's all going through. I think we're very close to exchange of contracts, but in theory, that deal alone should net around £74,000 just off one deal alone. And all in all, Lenka, how much time would you say you spent on it?
Not much, really.
Sorry?
Apart from the viewing and from actually packing it and spending time on the phone with you and the vendor, not much. Yeah.
So it took about 2 hours on the phone, but then you spent a bit of time going back and forth. You've been there and you visited it and taken photos. So let's say the best part of the day.
Yeah.
Only
all of the deals were like this.
Yeah. So in terms of that, you know, the return on investment in terms of time, etc., been phenomenal. We just got to get it over the line. We know the vendor's got the purchaser's going to buy it, because in the meanwhile, whilst he's purchasing it, he's already started to get access to the property and he's spent money on the property. So he's not going to go anywhere. We just need to make sure that it all completes. Okay. Who is this brave lender lending to Lenka? So, okay. Sorry, I'm just quickly asking. Is this agent? Right, I'm just quickly. So, okay. So no one's lending the money to Lenka. Lenka's not purchasing the property. All she's done is specifically negotiated the deal, and we've sold the deal onto an investor. Does that make sense? So Vincent says, how did you negotiate that much of a discount? What was the vendor's motivation? So the vendor in this scenario is quite old, and he wanted literally just to be able to get a quick sell for the property. Now, bearing in mind that we looked at all different angles, we looked at all different options to try and work what was the best way for him and also the investor. So we came across what we considered a win-win scenario. So Pet says, is this a flip? No, it's not, because it's an assisted sale. There's a difference between an assisted sale and a flip. So deal number 3, lease option, Plymouth. This is the one that completed last week, Lenka?
Yeah, last Saturday, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
So do you want to tell us about this? Because I don't actually know. I know you're direct to vendor, but where did the lead come from?
The lead came from last year. So with every property that I work on, even if I don't get it on the app, or the landlord say, or the vendor say, no, I'm not interested, I'm always watching the properties and watching what's happening. So I bookmark it and I look back every 2-3 months just to follow up. And basically I discussed this property with the landlady or with the owner, and she said, okay, we have purchased this property, we have put some money in, and we are basically trying to apply for HMO license. So they basically converted the property, the large property, into 10-bed HMO, but they were still hoping or to get the confirmation of the license being granted. So yeah, they got the license, but when I actually follow up on them, they already decided to list it with different agent. And I just had a communication with her again. I just said, are you sure this is okay move to do? Because obviously with us, you don't pay any fees. With agents, it's different. And obviously because it's an investment property, I think you have bigger chances to sell it with us So she said, okay, let give me like 1 month, and I will see how it will go with our agent. If it doesn't work, then we will go with you. So I was following up with her on a weekly basis. And yeah, the agent did not really do anything with it, because like Arsh mentioned, if it is investment property, you have much higher chances to sell it through the app, because we are focusing on investors. So yeah, she basically was happy to give us the exclusivity, and we were able to close the deal, and she is very, very happy. So yeah, success again.
Okay. So Christina's asking a question. She goes, how do you keep on top of following up? What system, have you got a system in place for that?
I don't know how I do it. I just simply see a property, and when I see some sort of opportunity in it, I just can't stop thinking about it, and I bookmark it. And especially when somebody tells me no, or if there is some certain occasion where the owner is not quite sure, or they have different possibilities of selling it through Rightmove or something, or there is something like with this deal, yeah, where she was just waiting for the license. I knew that this is going to become valuable, and I always bookmark it, and I just follow up. Some vendors are literally not interested, and they just wouldn't talk to you. So this is one of the downsides. Some of them are always happy to, hear your voice again and discuss stuff and move things forward. But yeah, it's always up and down. But sometimes I just know, I just get that feeling that if I reach out to the person again, they are going to work with me. Some of them are just leading me on, they are just playing games, and they are not interested to really work with us, but they still take the call, and they like to talk and things like that. And I have learned by now that these are just time wasters, and I just need to move on. So there is so much stuff you can learn just through sourcing and through talking to people, and just, their way of dealing with you, that you can recognize what is going to be deal and what is just waste of time. So again, a lot of valuable lessons from this coming.
Okay, so in terms of this one, so we originally, when we looked at it, it was a purchase, but then after almost like a week of putting it out, we went back to the vendor and we renegotiated it so that it was a lease option. And as a result of putting it back up as a lease option, we sold it almost instantly. We could have sold it multiple times over. Okay, so hang on, so I'm just going through some of the questions. So if I worked with an agent to source the deal, co-sourced it with you, how would the agent get the commission rate once the sale goes through from my solicitor? Okay, so Brad, we'll come back to that shortly, because that's all part of the process. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So other properties, so rent-to-rent property, Lenka. So
Yeah.
this was one that did complete, but we had a few issues with this. And this is the one with the letting agent. So how are you finding working with letting agents?
I have been on this training for a year. So on the end of May will be 1 year since I joined. And I have always found it really difficult to kind of break through the agents. I have always been scared to talk to them, and I never had the success to actually get any deals through them. But once I actually got one agent to collaborate with me, it just opened up the door to the next agent and the next agent, because I just built up so much more confidence to speaking to them. So I found it quite nice, because some of the agents, they are simply not interested, because they are getting so many phone calls like this from different people that they can already recognize what you are up to. So they are just like, they either put the phone or just excuse themselves, and they are not interested to talk to you. But I believe that, if you try and try again, you always, get, if you get the right person, all you need is just the right person to kind of get hold of, and things can open up for you. And this is exactly what happened to me. As much as I have been really discouraged many times with agents, it just happened. And yeah, I got this rent-to-rent deal through this agent, and now the agent is actually supplying me with more and more deals.
You know what, Lenka?
Weekly basis.
I forgot to put up another deal of yours. And the deal that I forgot to put up of yours is the portfolio of properties that we've currently got going through in Luton.
Yeah.
So, sorry, this is another one of Lenka's deals. So I forgot to put this up, probably because I was rushing to try and get the slides completed. We've just
That's probably the
negotiated.
biggest one of them all.
This is the biggest. Yeah, this is the biggest one of them all. There's a portfolio of properties in Luton where we've negotiated a deal with the agent at £4.1 million, and one of my buyers have bought it for £4.1 million and giving us a commission of 1%, which is £40,000 plus VAT. So it's about £41,000 plus VAT. So you can see that within a period of 12 months, when you tot up all the deals that Lenka's done, she would have made in excess of £100,000. And this is Lenka doing it part-time. Lenka, would you say that you're on it full-time, or is it part-time?
Well, it depends, because I also have my own rent, so I have to focus on that from time to time, but I would say that mostly full-time. There has been a 3 months period when I was just setting up my rent, so I couldn't do sourcing at all. So we could easily say that this has been done within the 9-month period.
Okay, so that's been within the 9-month period. And as a result of that, so she's got a rent where she's done herself. So I suppose it's a really good question, Rebecca, from Rebecca. What lessons have been learned from the deals that have fallen through? So Lenka, what lesson have you learned from the deals that have fallen through?
From the deals that have fallen through, I think it really depends on the investor that you are dealing with. It can be quite complicated if the person is not the right one. I mean, this deal has gone through, but then later on things went wrong. So it had nothing to do with our services. It has just been a little bit of issue from the vendor point of side, and yeah, the person who took it on. The lessons are, it does not matter if the deals not come through. I will give you an example. We had another property in, where was it? In Scotland, that did not sell. So we had somebody who was interested. There was an investor that wanted to buy it, but it just simply took so long that the vendor decided to move on, and they basically placed the property at auction. So it sold at auction, and once again, I follow up with the person. So I follow up on the vendor and I ask, congratulations that this deal has sold. I just want to keep up with you when it comes to the completion, if everything goes well and things like that. So this is something that Arsh doesn't even know. I actually spoke to her last week. She said the property has completed at auction, but she is going to have another deal for me next week. So she is already ready to bring another deal on the table, just because we created this connection and I follow up with the person even after we lost the deal. So just because you can't sell it on the app, it does not mean that something else can't come through it again. So it's just really, to create that kind of, rapport with the people, stay in touch, because you never know what else might come from the deals that you have done or from the deals that did not come through. So it really depends on the situation, but just keep your eyes open and don't get discouraged, because in property is always up and down, up and down. It's just important that you always get back up and fight again. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I completely agree with all that. Okay, so thank you very much for that, Lenka. Would you mind staying online and then see if anyone's got any questions for you?
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there we have it, guys. So Lenka, you can see that she's been very active over 9 months, made in excess of £100,000 in sourcing fees, literally, as well as having her own rent-to-rent and taking properties on herself, as well as sourcing properties for other investors. Okay, so Vincent said, how did you source a Luton deal? Believe it or not, that was through an estate agent. estate agent had the deal but didn't have the investors. Lenka put it all together. We put it out to my investors and we sold them to my investor. And as a result of that, he's completing on that transaction at £4.1 million, and he's paid us quite a nice fee for that. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So Lenka, as lovely as she is, I can talk to you about other people that have done very similar deals, but probably on a smaller scale. This is a guy called Timur, based in Wolverhampton. This guy's a young guy. He done a 6-bed HMO in Hull, sourced via an estate agent on Rightmove, sold within 7 days, and we charged £4,000 for that property. Second property with a 5-bed HMO rent to rent in Wolverhampton. He decided to keep that property for himself, which cash flows around £550 to £600 a month for himself. He kept the second property himself as well, which is a rent to rent service accommodation deal in Birmingham. Again, producing him around £600 a month. Property number 4 was a 7-bed HMO, which we converted it into a lease option, sold it for £5,000 fee. Property number 5, a 6-bed HMO in Stoke, which was the neighbouring property. So after we sold property number 4, the same owner decided to sell the next door property via Timur again, and we charged £5,000 fee again. And then property number 6 was a HMO in Bridgewater, which is down towards Somerset, Devon Way, fully tenanted, income producing, which was sourced via an estate agent, and they agreed to sell within 14 days through my database. And again, we charged a £5,000 fee. Just to let you know, other than the ones that he actually took on himself, he didn't sell, he didn't go and view any of these properties. Going back to what I said earlier about the one-trick pony, no two transactions are ever the same, and Lenka will confirm that. Look at every property and apply a strategy which works best for the owner and the purchaser, and that's why it's really important that you understand all the strategies. Is it that you can offer a below market value deal? Is it that you can offer a rent-to-rent deal? Is it that you can offer a lease option deal? Is it the fact that you can do an assisted sale on it? Is it the fact that you can look at exchange and delay completion? These are all different strategies. You need to understand this to monetize every deal. Does that kind of make sense? Now, all the information that you need for all these properties, believe it or not, will be online. So on platforms like Rightmove, on Zoopla, on the market, Spare Room, Open Rent, Gumtree, eBay, and so many more. These are literally, so when we're working with estate agents, when we say we don't need to view it, the estate agents do all the hard work. They've already created the floor plans, they've already got all the photos, they've already got all the property descriptions, literally providing that we can start to work with the agents. There's no reason that you can't get their permission to utilize some of their information, such as the floor plans and the pictures. So here's, I can mention multiple people. We can be here all day talking about other people that are in a program that I devised called the Elite Property Tribe, where they have done similar levels of success to the likes of Lenka and Timur. So we've got Adam. Adam has traded over 50 properties over the last year. Ashley has traded 5 properties himself, but also acquired 2 properties for his own portfolio. We've got Amanda that has completed on a couple of deals. We've got Bav that have completed on a couple of deals. Not everyone has done 10 or 15 deals. There are people that have done 1 or 2 deals. You've got Lenka again in the top left-hand corner. We've got Ellahi in the bottom right-hand corner. He went on to grow his own rent-to-rent business. So when we're talking about sourcing, Ellahi is quite interesting because he said to me he did not want to source for other people. He only wanted to source properties for his own portfolio. So since he joined my program back in February, he grew his business of HMO rent-to-rents from 7 properties to 17 properties with 100% occupancy. So again, going back to the point, it's not just about sourcing for other people. You can source for yourself, but in order to do that, you need to understand the strategy. So you want more case studies of other properties that have been sourced by myself or the other EPT members? All you got to do is go to the propertyinvestorapp.co.uk available on the app stores by searching Property Investor. So lots of, on average, we try and do between 500 deals. And like I said, my goal for the next couple of years is to hit 1,000 properties a year, which is equivalent, to approximately 20 properties a week, which then is equivalent to 4 properties a day if we work on a 5-day working week. So as you can see, I've got big goals. Now, this is where I need your help. So marching forward towards fruitful 2021, I've been running this program now for approximately 6 years. It's called the Elite Property Tribe, which is my flagship program. What I do is I teach all property investors how to become a more rounded property investor by understanding all the strategies that we've spoken about in this session. And what I do is I deliver that over 52 modules of online training. And this is where we learn how to source 6 different types of cash flow strategies, such as deal trading, rent to rent, lease options, HMO, service accommodation, and commercial to residential. And as a result of those strategies, we then look at how we can find them below market value, how we can do those each as lease options or rent to rent, or a delayed completion, or as an assisted sale. So these are all strategies, but as a result of the strategies, understanding all the different acquisition types within them as well. So the Elite Property Tribe is 52 modules of online training, where every fortnight we also have a live deal clinic with me direct and problem solving. So you may turn around and say, well, I've got a deal, here's where it is, I don't kind of understand or don't know where we go with this right now. And this is where not only myself, but also other EPT members, Elite Property Tribe members, go through the deal to see how we can really add value to it. As well as that, you have a shadowing day with me any time throughout the year. So you can come and spend a day with me in the office. What that means is that you come and sit opposite me. I can listen to all your calls, so I can see what you're saying right, what you need improvement on. More importantly, the aim is to try and get you a deal within that day. As part of being in the Elite Property Tribe, you get the opportunity to book 10-minute calls with me daily to discuss opportunities and support. So I've got a booking link where you literally book a call with me and say, Arsh, I'm looking at this property, here's where we are, what do we need to do? We also have 4 live virtual meets throughout the year. So that's what's been happening with COVID. So we have virtual meets where we've got keynote speakers. We also do deal clinic lives within those sessions as well. As well as that, we have access to over 400 hours of previous webinars and recordings and live meets, which is on a platform which we've got it's a dedicated platform where it's got all my documents, it's got all my spreadsheets and all my templates, as well as all the previous recordings. And you get access to my personal WhatsApp group and Facebook groups. So the shadowing day, which I think is probably the most important part, is a day where you can come and spend time with me in the office, where you get to sit opposite me. And as a result of that, I listen to your calls. You get to be immersed in my environment. And here's a guy called Jay on the top right-hand side. And he came to the office, and within 1 day, no property experience, no money to invest. He was a full-time teacher. We negotiated 2 HMOs where we sourced and packaged the deals, and we made 10 grand in sourcing fees within 1 day. So as part of the Elite Property Tribe, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off with a day on the phones. Now, a day on the phones is going to be where we literally start with a 30 deals in 30 days challenge. It's a day of action work, a day looking for deals, a day speaking to vendors, a day appraising deals, a day calculating the return on investment and yields, a day looking at the hotspots and supply and demand, working in groups with fellow EPT members, and it's only available to EPT members. And that day is Friday, the 11th of June 2021. And it's an online event, so you don't need to travel to Wolverhampton. We'll all be doing it via Zoom and Skype, via Zoom. And as a result of that, the aim is to try and get you your first deal on that day. And lots of people have found their first deal on that day. So just if you take a moment here and have a look at all the modules that we cover within the 52 weeks. So this is within the program. You can see all the modules that we're covering: how to use spare room, how to use HMO registers, how to advertise your property, how to find rents, how to negotiate them direct to vendor, how to negotiate them with agents, how to do JV partnerships, how to look for service accommodation deals. These are just some of the criteria that we cover on the program. So what is the Elite Property Tribe? Elite Property Tribe is broken down into mentorship and accountability. The reason why I say that is because I'll always be by your side. You'll always have my personal mobile number, and you're going to be in a private WhatsApp group and a private Facebook group with other EPT members, which means that I'm going to give you a learning journal. What that learning journal means is that I want you to be able to take note of every call that you make, so that at any point I can check in with you and say, guys, okay, tell me, how many people have you spoken to this week? Who did you call? What did you call them all about? That's my intention, to speak to you so that we can have a look at what your accountability is. So you can say, oh, okay, I watched this module. As a result of watching this module, here's all the people that I spoke to about what I wanted to learn and what property I was looking for. As a result of that, here's my intention. Oh, sorry, here's who I spoke to, and here's the outcome of that deal. And the aim is to get you to get doing all. Sorry, I'll come back to a lot of the questions in a second, but the aim is so that you continuously stay accountable to the program. So what does it cost to join the Elite Property Tribe? So the full cost of the program is £6,000 for a year. Now, just so that you know, my aim is not to literally say, guys, you've got to pay £6,000. What I always say is that you pay the initial 50%, so that's £3,000, and that can be paid either in one payment or it can be paid over a 12-monthly process. Now, the other £3,000 is only payable once you do deals and once you have done deals. Now, if you pay for the program up front, you get access to all the modules up front straight away. If you pay for the program over 12 months, the modules will be drip fed to you over a 12-month period. I don't mind saying that, as long as everyone is fully transparent about, and we're fully transparent about that. So the payment of 12 months is £350 a month. If you can't pay in full from the start, it is slightly more expensive because we cover 12 credit card transactions. The remainder £3,000 is paid only once you have done deals. If you don't do any deals, which is highly unlikely, you don't pay the balance. I'm very clear on that. The first 4 modules will be released immediately, and the others will be drip fed every week. So it's very clear. Plus, you get access to the full back end and all the bonus materials. So you'll still have access to all over 400 hours of training. So if you are interested, I'm going to put some links up on screen now. So if you want more information about the program, you go to bit.ly/EPT info. If you want to join the program straight away, you can do by paying either in one payment, where you go to bit.ly/join the EPT, or you can join with monthly payments, which is bit.ly/EPT monthly. Now, the one thing I will say is that these are all case sensitive. So if and where it says it's a capital, please use a capital. If it's a lowercase, it means it's a lowercase. So someone said, "Oh, can you quickly stick this info in the chat box?" Yes, I'll do that for you. Okay, and I'm going to take a moment here to answer a load of questions, because we've got lots of questions that have come through. So in the chat, let's just have a quick look. I've just put that in the chat, so you've got all the links there. Right, questions. So, hi Arsh, could 2 business partners join the EPT on a single membership, single fee? Yes, you can, Samir. So I'm not one of these people that are going to say, oh, you have to pay twice. No, providing you are business partners, you join once by paying 1 fee, and then you join and you get access by using your single login. So that's fine. Okay, so Douglas says, do we have to join the course to send you deals? No, so okay, so you can send me deals even if you are not on the course, and we do sell them, and we work on a 50-50 split fee basis. The one thing I will say, Doug, is that you will not get any feedback on your deals or anything. So if you send me a deal and I look at it, if I say no to it, I won't go through and try and appraise the property and try and tell you what you've done right and what you've done wrong. That will be for you to do. I don't mind saying that because that is time and effort from our point of view. We'll literally look at it and say either a yes or no to it. So yes, you don't need to be part of the course to send me deals. However, if you want the accountability, you want people to show you what you've done right with it, what you need assistance with it, that's where you need to be part of the program. Okay, so Rebecca says, for those that are working full time, what would you suggest in when scheduling time for sourcing deals? Rebecca, there's in the Elite Property Tribe, 95 or slightly more than 95% of the people all work full time. You're not alone in working full time. Sorry, I hope that doesn't come across wrong. Timor runs a very busy business in a printing company. He does all his sourcing in the evening. He spends 1 hour an evening finding deals. He spends a little bit of time during the day in his lunch break calling agents. That's all he's doing. So I appreciate that you're busy with your full-time work. However, if you spend an hour a night or a couple of hours a week and then dedicate one lunchtime a week making a few calls to a couple of agents, there's no reason why this can't work for you. So Sam says, when do we get access? How do we get access to your investors? If we source deals, we're able to contact you and you take a fee. So Sam, I work on a 50-50 split fee basis. If you've got a deal and you want to sell it to my investors, I work on a 50-50 split fee basis. Does that make sense? So the one thing I will say is that do something today that your future self will thank you for, because we could all kick the can down the road. You know what? Maybe I'll do this next week. Maybe I'll do this next year. The issue that you've got is that next year never comes. Next week never comes. And you still find yourself in the same rat race that you're in today. Whether you decide to do property as a business format, or whether you decide to do property as a lifestyle format. And we've talked in this session about my property in Liverpool, my property in Cornwall. I can talk to you about hundreds of business transactions that I've done, whether I've sourced them for other investors or I bought them for myself. And again, it all depends on what you're after. So Graham says, how do I send you deals? So you can email deals, and I'll send it to everyone, deals@propertyinvestorapp.co.uk. Alternatively, if you've got the app, you can actually upload the deal onto the app directly. As a result of that, we'll have a look at it, and then I'd say yes or no to it. So here's another lady called Sandy Baines, as part of the Elite Property Tribe. She came to us 3 years ago with no experience and facing some difficult times. So with my guidance and supportive community, she's able to learn both the soft and hard skills required to really turn this around and become a successful HMO owner and a deal sourcer. So one thing the EPT does, not only teaches you the technical, but also the practical. I'm not only talking about how to do it, I'm showing you what to do. I'm not teaching you the theory, but I'm also teaching you the practical. Here's the reason why we do it, here's how we do it. And this is a big part of the EPT. It's not all textbook stuff. Christos is doing a number of deals at the moment. I think we're currently going through about 8 deals together with Christos. And Christos is, when you meet him, he's larger than life. He's got lots of colourful jackets, based in Milton Keynes. We've got Priscilla Tute based down in Wales, and again, since joining EPT. She's learned all the different property strategies to be confident in talking to anyone about them. And again, it's all about learning the strategies so that every time you come across a deal, you know how to appraise it, how to package it, and also how to create that win-win scenario. As a member of the Elite Property Tribe, you get to use the leverage of the Property Investor Act to negotiate deals with the vendors and agents, which means that you'll become the go-to person in your area and to build your credibility. You'll no longer just be, sorry to use this, but you won't just be Sue, a property investor. You'll be Sue, a property investor that also has an affiliate with the Property Investor app, and that will give you more credibility. But that's all becoming part of the Elite Property Tribe. So just to recap, the Elite Property Tribe, 52 weeks of online training. We get fortnightly live deal clinics. The first one's tomorrow, believe it or not. The program doesn't start until the first week of June, but you can join the deal clinics, and once you join, you get access to the program immediately, which means that you'll be able to join the deal clinics to watch the previous deal clinics. We've got shadowing days in the office with me. We've got daily 10-minute calls with me. We've got access to 400 hours plus of previous webinars. You get to JV and sell your deals to my database. You get access to all my contracts, templates, and spreadsheets. And to join, all you have to do is go to one of those 3 links that we've got on page, and also that is within the chat program, in the chat box as well. So are there any other questions? Because that kind of brings us to the end of the presentation. Do you have any questions for Lenka? Please feel free to jump on now and say if there's anything that you'd like to know. So Sue has asked and says, really inspiring. What was your first steps with the initial estate agent contact? It's not so much what's your first step, Sue. You've got to literally pick up the phone to an estate agent and try and talk to them about property that you've seen that's of interest. Understand how long has it been on the market for? Understand why they haven't sold it yet. Does that make sense? Because once you understand that, they may turn around and say that it's slightly overpriced. It may be because it's not mortgageable. There are a number of reasons as to why that property hasn't sold yet. It could be that they just don't have that database. So Vincent has just asked a question: are HMOs harder to sell through agents because the buyer has to be very selective to take it on? No, believe it or not all agents understand HMOs. Not all agents has the investors that want to buy HMOs. That's why the Property Investor app is the perfect place for it, because we've got a targeted audience of investors that understand that style of property. Okay, so Brad says, if I work with an agent to co-source the deal, co-source it with you, how would the agent get the commission rate once the sale goes through? From my solicitor. No, Brad, so just so you know, the agent makes their money from the seller. You make your money from the buyer. So the agent's not doing anything different. They're still selling the property on behalf of the seller. You make your money on behalf of the buyer. So Sue said, what would I need or criteria to bring a deal to a clinic? Believe it or not, Sue, even if you just initially started appraising it and you've seen a property on, let's say Rightmove, and you say, Arsh, and lots of people do this, Arsh, I've seen this property, I'm not 100% sure if it's a deal or not yet. Can we discuss this on the deal clinic? Lots of people do that, and that's where we look at it. We go through the spreadsheets, we go through the cash flow process, we go through the appraisal of it, and we go through it from head to toe. That's what we do on the deal clinics. Because once you look at it, some of them we might turn around and say, you know what, this isn't really a deal. A lot of them we say, yes, believe it or not, this is a deal. This is somewhere that you take it forward and you'll follow it through. So Leticia says, do you need to register as a sole trader to send deals? So you don't, personally, if it's me, I would register as a limited company as opposed to a sole trader, just in case anything ever goes wrong. I'm not saying that it will, but I would register as a limited company if you're going to set up as a deal source or a deal trader. But you can do it as a sole trader if you wish. So I think I've pretty much answered all the questions. That's quite quick actually for me. So if you have got any questions and you want to get in touch, please feel free. You've got my office number there. So you'll probably get through to my assistant, Fran, who, if you want to have a chat with me, you're more than welcome to give me a quick call, and I'm always open to having a chat. You can email me directly, or you can book a call with me directly by going to bit.ly/AskArsh. It is, if you are going to book a link, book a call, it is going to be specifically around the Elite Property Tribe and not just having a chat about, I've seen a property. It has to be about the Elite Property Tribe, just so that we know we're on the same page. So guys, someone's just said, can you put the links back up? Okay, so I'll leave the link there for another minute or so. Has anyone got any other questions that they want to ask? Please feel free to now ask, as this is your opportunity. Okay, so there we have it, guys. As always, I wish you all to be safe, well, and happy. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week, and I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Thank you, and bye-bye.